Sup, Nerdmigos, I'm the Jive Talking Nerd John Norgrove. We've got Wife here, we've got Sammy here, and we're going to do a book review.
Yay! Book review!
Alright, so tell us what the book is.
So, the book is One Dark Throne. It is the second in the series. The first book is Three Dark Crowns. Basically, we read it, and we hadn't thought about doing book reviews at that time, so we just finished reading One Dark Throne, and we have to talk about it because the world needs to know.
It's a pretty good book, man.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's really good.
So the series, it's a young adult kind of novel, so it's one of those, but it's
Paranormal
good.
teen romance.
It's like paranormal teen romance, young adult.
But
be
it's
real.
like not one of those.
But it's not one of those. It's one of those, but not one of those.
Like a little bit one of those. I read a lot of paranormal teen romance. It's a little bit one of those. I mean, yeah, it's no fucking Twilight in its paranormativity. But
So the book takes place on an island called Fenburn, and on this island there is there's a queen, and the queen gives birth to triplets.
Twipwits.
She has twiplets.
it's fun.
And the queens always have twiplets, and each time they have twiplets, they decide which powers the twiplet has. I can't do that for much longer. That's too tough. And when the triplets are born, the queen leaves the island with her king consort. The triplets are raised together at a shack in the middle of the woods, very Disney princessy, until they're 6. At 6, they are separated and taken to their respective cities, which are kind of like the capital of whatever power it is that they have.
Yeah.
And at 16, they have to try and kill each other, and whoever is left gets the crown.
Yeah, becomes a queen.
Yeah.
And the powers, so there's the powers are elementalists that can control the elements.
Fire, lightning,
yeah,
wind,
exactly.
water, so forth.
There are naturalists who have animal familiars and can like make flowers bloom and make
control
crops
animals
better.
And stuff.
Yeah. And then there are poisoners who can just eat poisonous shit.
They
just can eat poison.
They
poison.
no
I'm
problem.
They are
on it.
They're like,
unpoisonable.
what's this hemlock wine? It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's a good vintage, baby.
So they really don't have a power.
And there's warriors who have a warrior gift, and they don't really explain what the gift is.
They can move shit with their mind.
I think they can move stuff with their mind, including arrows.
Yeah. And, like, maybe they have better fighting acumen.
I think they have better fighting acumen as well, but I think it's also because they can move stuff with their mind.
I think they're better with, like, blades and stuff.
Yeah.
Arrows.
Yeah. And then there are also seers.
Yeah.
Oracles. Thank you.
Who, like, can see the future.
Third time I've done that today. They can see the future and they just go insane. And that's all we know.
Crazy.
So they kill them.
Yeah, they kill them.
And then there's a special hybrid of things that are called Legion Curse, and that means that you have multiple gifts. Yeah. So not just the queens have gifts, but the rest of the citizens of this island generally have gifts. There are some that don't, but most of them do, and they fall into one of the aforementioned categories. Yeah. The queens would have more power than just a regular person would. Yeah. So you follow the story of the 3 dark crowns, the 3 queens. There's Katarine, my personal favorite.
Which one's that one?
She's a poisoner.
She's the poison one. Got it.
And we'll come back to this because I love her so much. There is Arsinoe, my least favorite. She's the naturalist. This bitch. She's the naturalist, and then there's
Elizabeth.
Mirabella. Thank you.
I was going to go with Rebecca next, but I don't know where any of those names are coming from.
I was going to say Marine, but that's a Game of Thrones thing.
White girl name.
And Mirabella. Mirabella is the elementalist. So I guess we'll say
and the most powerful.
Powerful and beautiful.
Yeah. So Mirabella is the elementalist. She's raised by, like, basically the church. And all the priestesses to like be an elementalist, and everybody thinks that she is a shoo-in to be queen because she's super pretty and she's really strong with her powers, and like the church loves her.
But she's a bitch,
and she's a hoe. She is a basic ass hoe. In the first book, she sleeps with the elementalist's best friend's boyfriend. Naturalist best friend boyfriend. Geez. Oh man.
You know what? Okay. The more I listen to us talk about this book, the more I realize that this is
still not one of those.
Bad, man.
It's so good.
Like it sounds like we're talking about trash. I like it. It's a good book. Like read it, but it really sounds like we're talking about trash. Man.
I mean, sometimes trash is the best.
Yeah, trash is the best. Drama.
Yeah.
So
drama.
She's very drama oriented. She actually doesn't want to kill any of her other sisters that are the queens. So this makes for a really interesting dynamic because they're all supposed to be killing each other because now they're 16 and they have to kind of like figure that out. So in the first book, what happens is Katarine doesn't seem to have any powers. She's not very good at being a poisoner. She's kind of frail and stuff like that. Mirabella is beautiful and like gracious, and she's everything that a queen should be. In fact, she does. They do this like showing of their powers. So like the poisoner eats Gave Noir, so it's like a black feast, and it's everything is poison. So it's a big table decked out in poison, and they just go to town.
The poisoner's superpower is just eating a lot.
I might be a poisoner.
Listen,
I eat a lot.
Poisoner's just a fat guy who doesn't touch the poisonous thing.
And the naturalist is supposed to like make their pet do tricks.
But like their big pet.
Their big pet, their fancy pet.
Yeah.
But she like when Mirabella does this, she basically dances naked with only fire to clothe her.
Yeah. Because she's a super hoe, dude.
Faux show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a super hoe.
She's in a weird love triangle with Jules, who is Arsinoy's best friend. Jules is also a naturalist, and her familiar is a mountain cat, and it's like incredibly powerful, and it's a big deal that her pet is a mountain cat and she's not a queen. Most people's naturalist familiars are like birds, so there's one that's a raven, chickens, dogs, cats.
Do we get any weird like snakes or lizards or anything? I don't think we get
mice.
Anything.
I think there's some field mice.
Yeah.
Real weak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody's got anything super tight.
I don't know, dude.
Just Jules.
Yeah, just Jules.
Yeah.
Jules.
Well, I mean, the dogs are pretty cool.
Yeah. That's just a dog. That's just owning a dog. Okay, listen. The only people with powers are the elementalists.
And Harriet.
Right? Because when you really think about it, the naturalists are just farmers who know how to raise animals. And the poisoners are just fat fucks. Don't touch the poisonous thing. You've solved the problem. The elementalists can, like, summon fire and wind and shit.
Yeah,
and she's over here like, I can make dogs bark. She's a cowbell.
Which leads us to Arsinoy, who is the elementalist. Arsinoy is raised and her best friend is Jules, and Jules is madly in love with Joseph, and they should, like, be together, and everybody thinks that, except that Joseph almost dies, and him and Mirabella get dirty.
Because she's a hoe.
She's a hoe.
Yeah.
She basically finds him almost dead on the seashore.
She's like, I need to warm him.
When she was
sex.
trying to run away. And she warms him and brings him back from the dead with sex. The power of her
She lights
loins.
them on fire.
I mean, she might have actually lit them on
Yeah,
fire.
that was the actual phrase that the book used. It was nice.
It was disgusting.
Arsinoy is like a stubborn, strong, quippy kind of girl. She's very Katniss Everdeen. But, like, I do not like her. I cannot get it. She does not have the power
super
of
whiny,
a naturalist.
dude.
She's really whiny.
Oh, my God. Everybody's like, you're the best. We should be friends. And she's just like, I don't know. Like,
she has a love interest, and she's kind of just like, you're like,
she's real whatever about it.
And he's just like, well,
she's like, I don't like boys. Boys are gross.
Yeah.
And we're like, are you?
She's another one that doesn't want to, like, hurt her sisters.
She also doesn't want to hurt her
kill
sisters.
Yeah.
But Arsinoy, even though she's the naturalist queen, because what happens is at birth, the queen is like, that one's a naturalist, and that one's a poisoner, and that one's this, and that one's that.
Because they know.
Because they know somehow. I don't know how they know. They just do. And the so Arsinoy is supposed to be the naturalist, but she doesn't have any naturalist powers. So they use low magic, like witchcraft, and they bind a giant crazy bear to her, but it's not actually not actually a familiar, because you can like mind communicate with the bear.
They bind a
half dead
bear first, and that
that
goes
was shit out of her face.
Very wrong. And then she's like, but wait a minute.
What if
we tried it again? And they're just like, yeah. Do it!
Great idea! Maybe let's pick
that
a bear
would work,
that's not half
sort
dead.
of, but the half-dead one, that didn't end well for literally anybody.
Not for anyone.
Arsinoy almost died. Half her face is gone.
Now she wears a porcelain mask, which is creepy.
It's black.
I know, right?
And
so it's not whatever. But
in my mind, she's like
it's the mask
Lady
from
Phantom of the Opera.
I keep thinking her as blonde also with like.
They all have black hair. They all have black hair.
Oh yeah, I always saw her as like dirty blonde or something. Yeah, totally, like dishwater blonde.
Shitty hair.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But no, I always saw her with.
Yes.
Do you remember the chick who had the weird porcelain face attachment in Wonder Woman?
Oh,
it was just fucking awkward looking.
Look, it's a Lego.
That's probably her.
Yeah, it's like I imagine it's not like she's kind of
like
cute and it's all elegant-y.
Yeah. I feel like that's cute.
She's a very tomboy-ish.
She wears a vest.
So that's Arsinoe. And then now we're circling back to Katarine. So Katarine is the Poisoner Queen. She's my personal favorite. She is a fucking savage. And I love everything about it. So in the first book, Katarine was portrayed as a very weak character who was very giftless, and it was just kind of pushing Mirabella into the thing.
Yeah.
So at this big feast that they had to do where Arsinoe got mauled and the hoe girl is clothed only in fire dancing around on the stage, Katarine was supposed to eat a bunch of poison things, and she did fairly well, but there was a plot where the church was going to have her murdered because she was giftless. And Arsinoe.
Yeah.
So Katarine's boyfriend, actually, it was like that slave girl from Game of Thrones where they like hire her on to teach Dany how to love make.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they did with Peter.
Yeah, totally.
And so that's like her boyfriend, and she's madly in love with him, and he's super into her, and it's really adorable. But he learns
a little abusive and manipulative, but okay.
Details.
I mean, I feel like I should address that. It's
clearly into it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. I felt it was like weird.
Yeah.
You know, the whole time I was just like okay, but you know, blink if you need help.
So Peter learns at the end of the first book that that there's a plot against her life, and that if she loses this big thing, and basically the only person who won was Mirabella, that the church was going to murder her in a really gruesome and awful way. Because he loves this girl, he doesn't want her to be murdered in a brutal way. So instead, he's like, Katarine, baby girl, whatever happens, I want you to come to me in the woods in this place. So she comes to him in the woods. Safe, obviously. Yeah. Nothing's gonna go wrong here.
It's totally normal relationship. Yeah.
So she comes to him in the woods, and she's like, oh my god, it was terrible, but it wasn't terrible in the same way, because there's the bear mauling things, there's all kinds of chaos, and the church wasn't going to actually kill her because of everything that had happened at that particular point. But Peter doesn't know that. And she runs to him and she's like, baby, it's so awful. All these terrible things.
I now get why he did it.
He's like, shh, 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 shh. And he pushes her off a cliff.
It's like...
Specifically into a religiously important bottomless pit.
Yes. Called the Breccia Domain.
Yeah.
So that brings...
Which makes it sound real fancy.
It does.
Because it is.
It is fancy.
I guess, man.
So,
it is from your theory.
That essentially gives you the framework of what's happening. So in the second book, we pick up, and Katarine has clawed her way out of this bottomless cliff, and she has come back, and she is a wicked savage.
Are we doing full spoilers?
Yeah.
Okay.
She is... Well, so actually, if you haven't read it and you don't want spoilers, stop now. Do not pass. Go.
All right, real quick, though, before...
You shall not pass!
I like the book. It's a good book. She likes the book, clearly. It's a good book. What do you think about the book?
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's into the book. So, we're all into the book. Go read the book.
And then come back and listen to the spoilers, because shit's gonna get real.
We go theorize and shit, okay?
So, we have a lot of fan theories. So that basically brings you up to speed on the first book. The second book starts, and Katarine is out. She is, She's
mildly
crazy.
insane.
And everybody thinks that she's like some kind of weird dead person.
Like
undead. They call her like the zombie queen or something. Undead queen.
Yeah. Because she basically literally came back.
And nobody knows.
The dead. And nobody knows.
Oh, and when they're like, hey, what happened to you for that week that we couldn't find you? And you were gone, and you came back, all covered in deadness and stuff, and she's just like, what are you talking about? What's going on?
She's like, it doesn't matter.
And then she's just like,
and then she's just like, gone.
Nothing happened.
Out.
But throughout the book, you find out that she's gotten really good at like random war arts and stuff. So maybe,
and eating poison stuff.
And eating poisons.
Yeah, which like in the beginning she would like I'll have a little bit, and then she's all sick and like she's poisoned,
like a normal person,
right?
And then afterwards she's just like. And people are like, maybe don't fucking eat that many poison berries. And she's like, don't tell me what to do.
Yeah. And then she like throws up for like a minute. And
she's like, yeah, but
foams out the mouth a little bit. It's fine.
I'm fine.
Just a little bit. Yeah.
She's like, I just
like how a dog does it, where they're just like blop, and then they're like,
yeah. I don't know why I just did this.
And I'm just like, can you maybe not? She's like, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
And you're gonna like
Give me the knives. I'm gonna throw them at that person, but not hit that person because I'm tight like that.
Yeah, and she's like shooting people like arrows, like William Tell,
like,
and you're like,
Yeah. Everybody's like, she wasn't really good with a bow and arrow, right? And they're like, no, she's shooting at that chick, so
she's only good.
It's not my problem.
Now, after she came back from the pit.
Yeah.
So at this point in time, the sisters are actively trying to kill each other, but really the only one trying to kill anyone here is Katarine. Yes. She is vicious and she is out for blood.
Yeah,
so she's
really
trying to poison all kinds of people.
Yep.
There's a poison dress. There's poison foods.
Poison gloves.
Yep. And throughout all of this are king consorts. So king consorts, suitors are going to turn into a king consort. So the suitors are boys from the mainland, from like fancy houses. Now,
mainland's giftless.
The mainland doesn't have gifts, which is really interesting. So
it's only the island.
So the suitors don't have gifts. Only the queens do. And I think that they do. I think that that's that way because if you were to breed a queen of a certain power and a suitor of a certain power, then you would most likely have that, and then that would maybe influence. So, like, if you had a poisoner queen and a poisoner king consort, are you only going to get poisoner babies?
Yeah, that makes sense. Sure.
Or is it like recessive genes? Like you have a poisoner queen and you have a like a naturalist king, and now you have poison animal babies?
Well, and they also had naturalist, elementalist, and poisoners as a triplets for like the past few generations.
Yeah.
War gift and oracles are very rare.
Yeah.
But happen sometimes.
Yeah. No, except for this time where they had like a giftless queen and a poisoner queen and an elementalist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of.
But kind of two poisoners.
But like kind of two poisoners. Yeah.
But I feel like with Katarine, you would have that like immunity to poisons just because you've been eating poison since like you were 6.
We didn't go over the fact the big plot twist at the end of the last book with Arsinoe.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Arsinoe is actually a poisoner.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's great.
But
she's
nobody
like,
knows.
Like
nobody
they're like, hey dude, we found this box of chocolates, and they're like, let's eat these chocolates. And then somebody's like, maybe don't fucking eat those around all these poisoners. And they're like, shit. And then Jules just like died. Jules is just like
she's alive, she's fine, but she's got a limp.
Yeah, the other one's like,
I don't know fine.
No, she's not fine.
She's not fine.
She's
got the Legion gift, and it is driving her insane.
Yeah, and she's got a limp.
And she's got a limp.
And her cat's got a limp too.
And she can't trust her boyfriend anymore because he fucked a chick almost when he was dead.
Yeah.
And he's like, but I don't love her. And she's like,
but you kind of.
She's like, I forgive you, but you're also a cunt. So.
Yeah.
Like every time he's around Mirabella.
And it's clear that she loves you, so this is weird as fuck.
Yeah. And she's just like, I'm not happy about this at all. And like the cat growls him and stuff, and you're like, yeah, you get him. Mountain cat.
Camden.
Yeah. Fucking nerd.
I just finished this.
Oh, okay. I finished it like 3 books ago, so I'm like, I got the gist, but none of the names.
Read this book, and we would read the book, and we would agree on a certain number of chapters to read, and we would stop at that chapter, and then we would be like, oh my god, what do you think about all of this?
No,
it was a fantastic way.
You
finished it like 6 months before us.
Yeah, a little bit.
She told me, was like, we have to finish this shit.
Yeah.
Well, the Earth Swallow opened up and tried to murder us, so it's different.
Yes, that was
and not the Breccia domain.
Yeah.
So I think that Peter is going to become Katarine's suitor, and that they're not actually going to do the stag hunt thing. Because out of all of the suitors, so all the mainland suitors, you kill... So they do like a hunt, and then all the rest of them die, and then the one guy survives, basically.
Yeah.
So, at the beginning, there was something like 6 suitors. So 2 of them died in the first book, murdered by the bear.
Yep.
And then, in this book, we have... Who died?
The Scotsman was poisoned by sex.
Yep. Died by sex. He was sexed to death.
Yep.
Yeah, he died by poisoning during sex, which I feel is...
Maybe after.
Less enjoyable? More enjoyable.
Because he was asleep next to her.
Yeah.
Could have enjoyed himself and then died.
Hopefully.
He died miserably, blisters and
Nicholas, that's his name.
Yeah,
Nicholas died.
He's just the Scots.
So
one.
So the only actual suitor that we have from the mainland still is Billy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he is maybe low-key a naturalist because he has this
chicken.
Yeah, he just has
a
chicken.
And it's adorable because he has like a chicken pet.
Her, and he couldn't.
So, about him. When he was in the church, so it's just that, like, she's such a hoe. When he's in the church, and she's just like,
Mirabella.
yeah, she's like, your girl's probably dead, so...
Oh my god,
so
let's be married.
Yeah,
so Peter,
we're just like, whoa, okay.
So Billy was in love with Arsinoe, and based on the events that happened in the book, everybody thought that Arsinoe died, except that she's secretly a poisoner.
Yeah, she got shot in the back with a poison arrow.
Which would have killed anybody else, except that she was a poisoner, and, like, all kinds of things happened.
Yeah.
I mean, she was pretty rough, because she got fucking shot in the back.
Basically.
But
in the woods, not with modern medicine, like pouring boiled... wine on it, shit like that. You're like, ooh, that is not going to do well.
That's not what you want.
Yeah.
So he was in love with Arsinoe, but then basically everybody thought Arsinoe was dead. So Billy then had to go and be a taste tester for Mirabella because now there's only 2 queens left. One's a poisoner and one's not. So she needs somebody to eat her food to make sure it's not poison.
It's actually the chain of events.
It's not, but it's close enough.
It's close enough.
Yeah, probably.
Because he had to be her taste tester before that. But anyways, so...
It's not important.
So Billy had to be Mirabella's taste tester, and when they found out that Arsinoe died, Mirabella was like,
like 5 minutes.
Oh, dude, yeah, like 5 minutes,
she's
dude.
Dead,
yeah.
But, like, wouldn't it really be good for her
it'd
memory
be better for
if you married
all of us.
me instead?
Because
we can rule together, but, like, we can remember Arsinoe. And he's like, alright.
He's like, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, he's I guess.
Nobody's gonna say no to fucking a queen.
The other option is marry the girl who murdered my love. Like, that's
who's also, poisoning.
Insane.
Right. Yeah, and insane.
Insane.
Yeah.
Katarine legit hears voices.
And her voice changes.
Let's talk about
it does change, yeah. I keep forgetting that was a thing.
Yeah, she goes all red rum.
Yeah, she gets all schmeagly. Nice.
They want to hurt the precious. Yeah.
So I think that when she fell into the Breccio domain,
fan theories, by the way.
Yes.
She died, but like she didn't really die. And when she came back out of the Breccio domain, she literally clawed her way out. That she was kind of like possessed by the dead queens because when the queens die, they throw them there. They throw their bodies in there. When she clawed her way out, I think that the queens that were in there were there, and they gave her a little bit of each of her powers. So, like, she's got Loki War Gift and Elemental Gift because she's really good with the snake now, but she was never good with the snake before. An Elementalist.
Naturalist gift,
and the Naturalist gift. An Elementalist I don't really have anything for, but she's also got, like, the War Gift, and maybe she can see the future, and that's why she doesn't care how much poison she's eating. So I think that when she went into the Breccio domain, she was possessed by the queens, and she took a little bit of all of their powers and brought them out with her. And the seers aren't actually crazy. They just can speak from the spirit world, so they can, like, channel a spirit. So it sounds like they're insane, but maybe they're not as crazy as you think. So I think that's what happened to Katarine when she fell into the Breccio domain and came back out.
All right. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, all the queen's powers. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All of them.
Yep. Yeah. She's Legion. Yeah. So the idea that I got from it is that there is an additional gift that we don't know about that's called the Death Gift, right? So she hears voices in the pit of dead queens, of dead bodies, right? So what I think it is I think that occasionally giftless queen, sometimes these queens are born giftless. Well, I think that what they actually have is the death gift, and it's not like activated, if you will, until they die. Get shot, stabbed, fucking whatever, thrown into the pit, and they come back. So I think the death gift is
queens are thrown into the pit.
Yeah, because all dead queens are thrown into the pit. So I think that they stay down there. Well, they essentially live forever. They are incapable of dying, and so they've just gone fucking mad and insane. So they throw her down there, right? She gets the death gift, and they're just like, all right, like let's, if you hear the whisperings of like immortal half queens that have been in a pit for thousands of years, that fucking changes you forever. So I think she came back like insane because of the death gift and having like essentially gone to the other side and died and come back. And I think that's why she can do all these fantastical things, and she can
and not die.
And she can eat all this poison now and not die. And I think that's part of why the Scotsman died. Is her body like legitimately doesn't even just pushes the poison out, like sweat it out kind of style. And I think that's why he was like covered in blisters and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Was like
because she had a lot of poison.
Like that night,
before,
because they had she had like a big poisony feast and stuff like that. Yeah, then been eating those berries and like it was too much
poison.
Yeah, exactly.
And that wine stuff that he got him.
Yeah,
super poison stuff.
Yeah.
That she had a sip and was just like, I'm just gonna convulse over here.
Yeah,
like don't mind me.
Give me a second.
Yeah, give me a second.
But so I think that's that like she sweats the poison out kind of things, and that's why she doesn't get caught.
And that's why she can't die.
Yeah, that's why she can't die, and I think that's kind of what's driving her insane. But I also think that's why the island, like, oh, she got the crown tattoo, so now she's the queen, and so the island is protected by a shroud of invisible wind and shit, and the queens cannot leave the island. Well, all of a sudden the queens can leave the island, right? That's into the book. Queens can leave the island. I think the reason why is because the island, the what do they call the, like,
goddess?
The goddess, yeah. Thank you. I think I don't know how I forgot that. Wow. So I think that the goddess is, like, wants the island. I think the island wants to be more powerful, and an immortal queen would make it more powerful.
Also, a savage like Katarina.
Yeah, and she's
powerful because
real
she's not
murdery.
A weak pansy bitch now.
Yeah, so I think that the island was just like, well, technically the other queens aren't dead.
We can have this hoe.
But this one's real jacked.
Badass.
And immortal.
And she wants to do the things that we want her to do.
Yeah, so I think the island and to some extent those other queens, and maybe the island doesn't want the other queens to leave, but the death-gifted queens at the bottom of the Breccia domain
are more powerful.
Are able to influence, like, put their will over the island.
Yeah.
To open up the gates. Like, selectively. I think she's going to start hearing whispers that the queens escaped outside of the mist, kind of a thing, in book 3. Like, now she's kind of part of that, like, ability to alter the will of the island. And I think that she's going to start being able to, like, hear, oh, the church is conspiring about this. Or I think that it's all connected. All the death-gifted are, like, connected as one to the goddess, because, like, the goddess is theoretically immortal as gods are, but in the form of this island. And I think that immortality is one of the goddess's powers that hasn't been manifested yet in any of the
maybe there isn't a goddess and it's all just the collective ability of the death gift
maybe
queens.
I think the death gift queens are just able to alter the will of the goddess, because it's been so long since whatever needs to happen for the goddess to rise again, or bloody whatever.
Yeah
I like it.
Yeah. And you have a theory about Peter, too.
Well, my theory actually kind of ties into your theory with the death gift. So, Peter also goes into the pit. And like we mentioned earlier, there is what is it with the stags?
This is a stag hunt. This is called a stag hunt.
Hunt of the stags, whatever. Which is the king consorts of suitors that are trying to get after these queens. So, my theory is that when those king consorts are killed, they also get thrown in the pit. So he goes in the pit, and hears all this
to see what
happened to Katarine, because he's like, the fuck happened to her? She was not this way.
She's crazy.
She cray. So he goes down there and he hears all these voices and he gets like kind of fucked up.
And he sees things. It's scary.
He's terrified, and so it like pauses for a little bit. We don't hear about him for a while.
Yeah.
And then he like comes and finds her right before she gets married.
Yeah.
Right before
she gets married. And he's a secret badass.
Yeah. Oh, no. It was when she found...
when she found Nicholas.
When she found out Nicholas was dead because she fucked him to
on
death.
technically their wedding night.
Yeah. Peter's all like, hey, it's fine. Like, I know what happened.
Yeah.
And she touches him and he's cold. So, I'm thinking they're going to rule together as undead king and queens. Also, he said that she's like, I can't have children because I'm a poisoner.
Like, I'm made of poison. And he's like, but I'm a poisoner too. Come here, baby.
Basically.
Yeah.
So I think that they're going to rule as undead, and the island will have an undying reign of poison.
I'm shipping awesome. Peter and Katarine.
What would be interesting is she could write, who I have no clue the gender of the
Kendara Blake.
It's a lady.
Oh, it is? Okay. Yeah. I assumed it was. For literally no reason at all.
I think she's Asian.
I don't know. I just know that it's a lady.
On her website.
Yeah.
She's got a whole website for it.
Awesome. Nerd. Seriously, yeah. No, I think that what they could do is sort of like just go through everything that you just... Oh, this is what he experienced. He's now immortal. They can have immortal poison babies. Like, boom. They're going to run that... and essentially, like, kind of run that story out real quick, like.
Yeah.
Then they could jump to, like, whatever, 500 years in the future. Or some bullshit like that, 10 generations in the future. And now the island is all, like, poison and death and evil and shit. And the queens that went to the mainland... Yeah. All right, have bread with the mainlanders and spread gifts to the mainland, and they could,
maybe it's diluted.
Well, yeah, but they could do a whole thing where it's like, all right, listen, like we know that island's full of death and darkness and shit. We're gonna have to go in there and kick some ass, take some names.
Also, to kind of not rain on your theory a little bit, but Peter mentioned that there just won't be any more queens.
After
she'll
Katarine.
be the last one.
She'll be the
last
queen because she can't have
children. So
children.
they'll just rule forever.
Yeah.
But then the offspring of the other queens that went to the mainland, yes.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Yeah. Like they
or
rule
the other
forever.
queens go to the mainland, and then they're like, you know what we need to do? We need to team up and take Katarine down.
They're both gonna die.
And I hope they're both.
Because they won't kill her.
No, they won't kill.
Yeah.
They're like,
they won't kill her.
They're like, well, remember
they're
when
gonna
we were
put her
6
in
and we
the
used to
cells
hold
beneath
hands?
Asgard, like they keep doing with Loki in the Thor movies.
Yeah, just kill him.
None of them remember. They're not supposed to remember their childhood.
Yeah.
But Mirabella and
Arsinoe
do, and that's why they have such a hard time killing each other.
Because they remember the
doesn't
good
remember.
times.
She doesn't care.
So I know Arsinoe got it from doing low magic.
Mirabella always did.
Oh, Mirabella just always?
That's why she never wanted to kill him.
It's probably part of her hoe powers.
I thought maybe I just like blacked out a little bit for something that explained that. But okay, it's just always been.
Yeah.
That's why. I just didn't remember that.
Yeah.
Okay. But, yeah.
And now Jules is on her way back to the mainland.
Because she wants to join up with the war kids.
Join up with the warriors. Because her mom is a bitch.
And a hoe.
Also a hoe. There are some holy things that happen. So Jules is going to go to the warriors, and the warriors are going to teach her essentially how to use her war gift, because she has war and naturalist.
Yeah.
Very strong.
And hopefully that's going to kind of do it. I still kind of think that maybe Jules is some sort of a queen, or maybe in each generation there's one from each there's one person that has each gift that's really strong. So maybe there's still a seer, and we don't know that there's a seer, because Jules is so powerful that they were like, oh, it's so weird that she's not a queen, because usually only queens are this powerful. And she's approximately the same age as the girls, but
they are the same.
No, they are the same
They're
age.
Beltane begotten.
Yeah, so they were all essentially conceived on the same night. So I still kind of think that Jules is actually one of the queens, and she doesn't know it because she was hidden at birth. Sort of. Because Legion or something like that.
Yeah, well, but, I mean, like, her mom is definitely her mom.
Well, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I guess that does poke a hole in that theory, huh?
Yeah.
But she could still be...
She could still be, like... She could also be the goddess trying to fight back against the pit
The low magic that Madrigal uses, Jewel's mom, all the time.
Yeah.
Because it's done through the goddess, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
the low magic's done through the
you've
goddess.
been doing some good work here. Here's a queen.
Yeah. Have fun.
Yeah. Hey, we might have fucked up that last batch of queens, so can we serve up...
We're going to give you 2.
Can we serve up a side one?
Yeah, we're going to give you a side of bacon.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah. I'm sorry about that soup. There should have been a finger in it, but here's some fries? And you're like, yeah, I fucking guess, man.
Who gets fries with soup? What's
Who knows,
wrong
man?
with
I'm thinking of like Wendy's.
I know, you're thinking Chili's.
Yeah, chili.
With
it's chili with a finger.
That makes sense.
Yeah, chili, soup,
I
whatever,
you're talking
man.
about Wendy's.
That makes sense.
It's been a long
makes
day.
sense.
Yeah.
So, do we have any other fan theories?
One more.
Yeah.
So, the first book ends with Katarine. Second book ends with Arsinoe. I'm thinking the third book, because they said they'll be back, is ending with Mirabella.
And
now,
you don't know
if
how
that
many
means
books there's going to be.
she's dying or dead, or if she's crowned, because we still haven't...
Oh,
like,
God,
we kind of got a queen.
You know, she said Mirabella. You said Mirabella.
Oh, Mirabella.
Yeah.
Also, not Mirabella. I don't want either.
Well,
I'm okay with Mirabella because she's kind of a hoe.
Well,
Hashtag
and
not my
also
queen.
when they were escaping the mist, Mirabella led them out through the mist with her elemental gift, and they're all just kind of like, "Oh shit, she's like really powerful. Like if we were to fight her, we probably would have died.
We would have died. Yeah.
Like dodged a bullet there.
Yeah, totally.
Good thing she's a softie.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Do we know how long we're gonna have to wait for book 3?
No. They have not announced when book 3 is going to come out. This second book actually just came out in September.
And how long? What was the time between those two?
You know, I don't know.
We had to wait like 6 months, but I think that was.
But I hadn't found it when it had first come out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we don't know when it's going to come
soon.
out. Hopefully it's soon. This is a great book series. The world building is really stronger in the second book, but it gives you a really interesting picture of the world, and it doesn't over-explain things. Some authors, they world build, they're like, and this was called this. They're very Tolkien. They're like, this is called this because of this thing that happened, and they're just kind of like, these are the things that are. They don't explain
We literally
things
got
more than
one sentence about the Seers.
Yeah.
Like a single sentence.
Yeah. So we don't know anything about
There
them.
is a map, though.
There is a map.
Very Tolkien-esque.
Oh, is there a map in the book?
There is a map.
Oh, did you read like a paper book?
No, we found the map on the internet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes way more sense.
Audiobooks.
I was like, I listened to it on audio.
We listened to it on audio.
Read a book? What is it?
When we finished the first book,
4
I
years
found
ago?
the map.
Like, what is this? Where are these places?
When we finished the first book, I found the map online and we looked at it.
And it's like, this isn't what I thought
tried to dissect
it
it entirely.
This shouldn't be how it is.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
And all the photos online were really low quality.
Yeah, they were
awful.
Yeah. In the first book, when I was listening to it, I was just like, all right, like, I want to see... Like, I was hoping for some sort of visual aid about the queens and what they can and can't do. And
like
what I was able to find was, like, some crayon drawings from somebody on DeviantArt, and I was just like, tight. It's good enough because I'm having difficulty keeping track because they're jumping around at one point in time, and I'm just like, who the fuck is whom?
Yeah, with
you know.
Well, and also with audiobooks, it's hard because the narrator, she was good, but like a lot of the voices obviously were the same.
Yeah.
So
well, one interesting thing about the audiobook too is and for those of you that read an actual physical book, maybe like, what are you guys talking about? It's not Katarine.
It's a
because
book.
In the
book,
but
somebody
spelled
reads
as Catherine,
yes.
And the audiobook author says Katarine, and I think that sounds way cooler than Catherine. Not that Catherine's a bad name, but we have Arsinoe and Mirabella and Catherine. No, we have Arsinoe, Arsenoii.
It's a dumb fucking name. If your name is Arsinoe, it's dumb. It's a dumb name. Yeah,
don't name your kids Arsinoe.
Yeah, Katarine's like Katherine.
Yeah, it's like it's literally Catherine, but with a K.
Oh, that's awesome.
But the narrator says Katarine. So if any of you have read this and you're like, what are you guys talking about? That's why we say Katarine.
Yeah, but yeah, either way, I enjoyed the second one. I enjoyed the first one.
Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was good. It made me think about a theory, which is
something.
Which is saying something,
Making
man.
your noodle work.
Yeah. Well, I just finished like a 16-hour zombie book today, and like it was good, but no part of me is just like, I wonder. And this was a totally new interpretation of zombies, and I'm just like, all right, like maybe I'll listen to the second one. I don't even know.
That's how I felt when I finished that book.
You know, but yeah, no, I thoroughly enjoyed it. So
if you like drama, if you feed off of drama,
yeah. So if you
super
like,
drama,
if you like interesting world building, if you like young adult type of teen fiction, he says paranormal teen romance, but it's not really paranormal necessarily, except for Katarine. But it's teen romance. It's in a fantasy setting. Magic powers aren't paranormal.
No, paranormal's like ghosts and shit.
Is it?
Yeah.
Or is it just like alternate normal? And maybe we're overusing para.
No, maybe paranormal doesn't mean what we thought it meant.
Shit.
Words do have meanings,
listen,
guys.
or I'm
you
totally wrong and just super drunk and high. So it's both are totally true.
If you like, they're both fairly short reads. The audiobooks themselves are like 10 hours ish. A piece.
Yeah, they're not very long.
Yeah, they're not very long. So
like
I imagine
chapters if you're gonna read
the chapters are pretty short though.
Yeah.
I imagine that the books are 250 pages, no more than 300 pages long. I don't know exactly. So the books themselves are 3 Dark Crowns is the first one.
Yep.
1 Dark Throne is the second one. Kendare Blake, Kendare, Blake, is the author. She did a fantastic job, and I cannot wait to read more of this story. I already tried listening to another one of her books that she wrote, and it's good, but it's not like this.
Yeah.
Good. So something about this, it speaks to me.
It's got enough darkness in it.
It has a darkness in it, and it's really not afraid of it. So, highly recommend. Please, please listen to or read these books and talk to us about them, because we don't know anyone else who has read them.
Oh, yeah. If you have a fan theory, let us know. And
Please.
More importantly than that, if you disagree with one of our fan theories, fucking keep it to yourself. No, I'm sorry. No, totally let us know. Yeah, like, if we're talking about some shit and you're just like, no,
books.
there's a line in here.
Listen to these books.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite queen?
Yeah.
Who's your favorite
I don't really
suitor?
know that I have a favorite queen. Now that I really think about it, they're all just kind of bad people.
Yeah, but you have one of them has to beat out the others.
I guess maybe the poison one? No, see, because I didn't like her in the beginning. Okay, it's going to have to be Mirabella, only because she bitches the least. Like, both of the other queens, and especially, like, pre-psychopath poisoner queen, she's just like, nobody loves me, and I'm ugly, and I'm just like, oh, God, die. Who cares?
They all had suitors come and visit him. So, Katarine had 2?
Yeah.
Arsway had 2. Mirabella's supposed to be this super beautiful girl. She had none.
Yeah.
She didn't complain.
Oh, she totally didn't, dude. Yeah.
She was just like, I don't really care.
Yeah. Oh, also, how sad is it that girl got her hand cut off?
Oh, and they
killed her. And then 2, how sad was it that they killed her woodpecker?
Oh, it was so terrible.
Well, they cut her hand off in the first book.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because
she
the war
had
has an affinity for blades other than moving things with objects.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they say that they're like better with an axe. And are the dogs doing something dumb out there?
This is right here.
Oh, okay. He's like, is he breaking something of mine?
No, he's like, you guys are taking too long.
Yeah, he wants us to shut the fuck up. Yeah. So either way, it was super good.
Read these books. Listen to these books. Tell us what you think. Who's your favorite queen? What is your fan theory? Who do you think should be queen? Who's your favorite person? I think this would be a great TV show.
Like, it would be a CW TV show, so it wouldn't be great. Or maybe Freeform.
Amazing. It would be sci-fi.
No.
Yeah.
It's definitely more CW.
But you know what? I'm okay with that.
There's not very much like CGI kind of stuff they'd have to do. Right? The only thing they'd have to do
Elemental.
is the elementals, but most elementals don't use their powers very frequently.
Well, and the animal stuff might need some CGI happening.
Yeah.
Most of the animals are standard animals that you could just have real animals on set with.
Yeah.
The only one you have to really do is the leopard. Puma. Cougar.
Yeah.
Mountain cat.
Camden.
Yeah.
And Braddock.
Yeah, the bear.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you were
but again, you almost never see the bear.
No.
So I'm like, I think they could easily do a TV show with it, and it would be pretty good on the CW.
Yeah.
I'd watch it.
I'd watch it.
But I've watched a lot of really bad TV, so yeah. Either way,
it'd be so bad that it was good.
Yeah. Right. Circles all the way back around.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like Riverdale.
Yeah. Oh, good morning, Cole.
Yeah. So, all right. We've been talking for a while now. So, either way, read this book. Name of the book, whatever. It's been Review Jive, John Norgrove, Wife&Sami. And, let us know about all that stuff. Do the things that we said. And then, when book 3 comes out, we'll do another review.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that could be in forever or never. All right. Stay nerdy, folks.